JavaScript waits until the page is ready before trying to access elements. JavaScript load event waits for the HTML to fully load, then display a message. So in this lesson, we are going to build together a simple display of a text when the DOM has been loaded in your code. So if you look at my screen, you can see this simple text, HTML is loaded, and this is coming after the whole element of the page has been loaded into the DOM before this text is being displayed. So we are going to look at how we can build this simple text to load after our web page has been fully loaded. There are 5 steps involved. Number 1, we're going to attach an event listener to the document. Step 2, page loads. This is when the browser finishes loading all HTML elements. Number 3, event is triggered, which means DOM content loaded fires automatically. Step 4 is to select the element, that is, target the paragraph where we want to make changes. Lastly, we have updating the content. Then this is what happens when the DOM has been fully loaded and it displays the message on the page. Let's look at the DOM content loaded together. In this boilerplate code, I have 2 comments, one in the HTML section and the other one in the script, which is the JavaScript section. The one in the HTML section will add a p tag for the output. So I'm just going to make a simple p tag with an ID. The ID can be anything, but let me just use demo in my case. And then close it. So I have my p tag already. Then I can come inside the script. And the comment says add event listener to document. So the way I can add event listener to the document is to select the document itself. The document represents the whole web page. So this whole web page is what is meant by document. So if you select the whole web page, dot add event listener. And the event listener that I want to put in will take 2 parameters. The number 1 is DOM content loaded, and the other one is the function that should fire when this is selected. Now, inside this function, I just want to pick my ID, get element by ID, demo dot inner HTML, because I want to change the content, and just put this simple text, HTML is loaded. You can see that even before I finish typing, it's already showing on the page. Now look at it now. HTML is loaded. Now you might be wondering that nothing special is going on or nothing special is happening. Well, this example is to show us how the DOM loads content. So it's not really about interactivity or something that you can play around with, but in order for you to understand how browser loads content. So it's a very important concept, and it is something that most beginners usually miss because you might not understand why it matters. Now, in this example, what it does is that it waits for the HTML to fully load, then display a message. So in the browser, this part will first load. This part will load first. If this part didn't get load, then the JavaScript will not be able to select this ID and display anything on the screen. For example, let me comment this out. And this part. Or let me just change this demo to something like maybe demo 1. You can see that nothing is shown on the screen, even though we have what is expected in JavaScript, but because there's no HTML to interact with, you can see that it is just displaying a blank and empty screen. So let me bring what we have back, and now this should come back to what we have before. Now JavaScript waits until the page is ready before trying to access elements. If the HTML is not loaded, there's no way JavaScript can interact with it. And all these things are things that happens in the background in the browsers that you might not always see every now and then, but it's a concept that is important for you to understand so that you know how code is being run underground and how browser gives priority and processing of code in order to generate an output. Now, the question you might want to ask is what exactly is DOM content loaded, which is what we have here inside our JavaScript as one of the parameters that is passed to the add event listener. A DOM content loaded is an event that runs when HTML is fully loaded. So this part is simply saying this function should run only when the HTML is fully loaded, which means that if our HTML has not been loaded, then what we have in our JavaScript, it will not run. And the reason why it is important is because it helps to prevent some errors in the output or in the display that is returned from our code. Now, the add event listener waits for the right moment before running code. So this will be waiting for an event before it will run the code. And then the inner.html updates the content on the page, which is why we are saying HTML is loaded. Here are some of the takeaways from this lesson. JavaScript can wait until HTML is ready. Now, what happens if we remove DOM content loaded from our code? Well, it might still work sometimes, but it can break if the script runs before HTML loads, which means that if we remove these parts, this content, DOM content loaded, our code might still work. Let's say we put something else aside from this, but it might break if the script runs before HTML load. But this DOM content load is what will prevent the execution of JavaScript from firing until the HTML is fully loaded. DOM content loaded ensures elements exist before accessing them. It runs when HTML is loaded, but not necessarily images or styles. It runs automatically when the page is loaded. You can see that it runs the text displayed immediately the page was loaded.